Hello everyone, welcome to second half of the lectures that are related to sports sponsorships. In the first half, we talk about some of the basic concept of sports sponsorship. We look at the differences between sports sponsorship and traditional marketing. We also look at some of the opportunities available in the sports industries that we can allow the company to capitalize on the popularity of the sports. So in the second half of the lectures, we will continue to talk about how we are able to develop sponsorship opportunities. So to begin with, I would like to briefly introduce about the proposal first. So if you are organizations, then sports organization that you would like to attract new sponsors, what do you have to do? So a lot of time we need to have a proposal created. So in this proposal, we normally will indicate things like the history of the sports property, if this events, how many years this event has been held, and how many audiences, how many people attend the games in the previous years, show them some numbers, and also how many media has been broadcasting these events, what's the economic impacts of these events, so that kind of things. The second thing is entitlements. So basically, you let them know about what kind of the benefit if they want to associate with these events. And the third thing we're gonna do is we would like to indicate some of the sponsorship package, because we don't know what kind of sponsorship the potential sponsors would like to get. So we keep providing multiple different package. We'll give them the package based on the price ranges, right? Give them a different sponsorship package, at least all the different benefits, and let them choose from. And the last one, we also indicate some of the promotional opportunities when we send out these proposals. So what kind of benefit could we include in a sponsorship package? There are a lot of things that we can include here. First one is category exclusively. So if you are going to let the potential sponsors become the official sponsors, obviously the price is higher, but they will become exclusive sponsors, which means other rivalry companies and products will not be able to associate themselves with this event, right? So these are category exclusively. And the second thing is the signage. So it's inside the stadiums will be able to show their brand, the logo, and support, and also give them the right to use the trademark and logos, right? If they have the product they want to promote, and they can use the trademark and logos. And also distribution right means that we allow them to sell products inside the events, inside the venues, right? And hospitality areas, if they spend a lot of money on this event, so we can have the hospitality areas and allow them to organize more activities during this event. So some of you, if you went to the Western and Southern tennis open, you realize there are a lot of sponsors. They have different kind of activities, and they're able to use these events to directly interact with the audiences, the spectators. Others is like complementary advertising, which means we are able to give you our media partners and allow you to have some free promotions. Another very common one is free tickets. I will give you some free tickets, and not a lot of free tickets, but they also give them the right to purchase additional ticket if that's needed. Other things we can do is we can share the links of the companies on the events websites, and also they have the rights of the first refusal. What that means is like when the contract is ended, when we negotiate the contract with you about whether you would like to sponsor our next year's events, so they have the right to first refusal. They say, okay, we don't want to sponsor these events anymore, so you can allow other companies to sponsor these events. Otherwise, as events organizer, we are not be able to talk to their rival first when they're still in contract. And the last one is access to database. For instance, we know we're gonna have like 20,000 people coming to this event this year, so we have their information, so we can share these database with them. So those are the sponsorship component that we can include in our proposal to make our proposal become very appealing. Next one, we're going to talk about sponsorship management. So what are the procedures we're going to develop sponsorships? The first things, if you are a company who would like to use sports as a platform to promote yourself, there are multiple different steps that we have to follow. First of all, so we need to go and identify our target market and target audience. So when we are facing a lot of like proposals from different sports property, could be a teams, could be a league, could be a events, could be athletes, right? So first of all, we need to go and understand what we're trying to achieve. So identify the audience, target market first, and then we set the goal, what we're trying to achieve, right? Third one is we select sports property. We compare the similarity and differences between all the different proposals and identify. And also we're going to establish a budget, understand how much money we have to pay for these collaborations, develop activation plan to maximize the values of the sponsorship. And at last part, obviously, is we're going to measure the effectiveness of the sports sponsorships. So let's look at each of step one by one. First step, we have to go and identify target audiences, target markets. To identify the target audiences, that could be a number of different stakeholders groups, right? Some of them to target a particular customers, there are multiple different information we possibly we will need. So we know about demographic, know about psychographic. So demographic is we try to see if we try to target the greater Cincinnati areas. So what particular area that we would like to target, we need to get their, demographic information. Who will be more likely to, buy our products, these things. Psychography is why are they going to use our products and why are they going to go to these events, or why the customers would like to build connections between our products and these events, right? So they're gonna we're gonna define who we would like to reach. And then we're going to evaluate all the different possibilities, right? So this is the first stakeholder group, which is customer. Second one is the clients and perspective, right? We have a lot of clients. So when we become the official sponsor of the events, we can use the possibilities, opportunities to host these clients, which can help us to build up a better relationship with our clients, right? So this is the first step, try to define the target audience, target market. The second thing is we have to set the sponsorship objective. There could be a lot of different objectives, but different company will have a different objective. The most common one, if you want to sponsor an event, is try to increase sales numbers. So you would think about what strategy that we could use that can really impact customers' purchase decisions. Right, so these we consider them is a direct objective, right? So another direct objective is simulate product trial. So basically, we're going to distribute. So we would like to have this opportunity to distribute a sample. If we just introduce this new product to the market, we want to get some feedback from the customer. So when we are negotiating this sponsorship package, we would like to see whether you can give me the chance to distribute some samples to the spectators, and then we'll be able to get some feedback whether this sample we're about to introduce to the market is good or not, right? So there's a direct distribution. We also have an indirect distribution. So internet direct distribution is like we could distribute it we can get the database and mail this sample to them and ask them to provide some feedback to us. So this is the indirect distribution. And the third one is try to increase brand image and personalities. When we introduce a new brand to the new markets, we would like to get bigger brand recognition. So you would like to know whether the sports property can give you the chance to let people to build up these connections between the products and the property. You can also help you to know whether your brand recognition will be increased or not. So this is normally called direct objective. Easy for you to measure sometimes, particularly increased sales numbers, right? You can just see what the sales number is like before the sponsorships, and also what sales number looks like after sponsorship. We can see whether the sales number has been increased or not, right? So that's a direct objective. We also have a lot of indirect objective. So indirect objective including we try to increase brand awareness, letting more people to know about it, including repeat repetition of these brand names and logos, signature placements, and title sponsorships. So this is the indirect objective. And also we try to string this client's relationship, that including we try to use this event to build a better relationship with our clients. So what we need is definitely we would like to have some tickets, right? So we would like to organizing some events inside these venues, and then they can really help us enhance these client relationships. And the third one, indirect objective, is we want to get more media exposures. So we would like to know how many media will come to these events and how this media will report our sponsorships, right? So those are the things you will care. Those opportunities you will care about it when you're picking up these sponsorship packages. The third step is we're going to select sports properties. We have different properties. We have events, we have a team leagues, we have professionally college sports, we have high school athletics, we have the amateur sports leagues, we have the Olympic sports competitions, right? And we also have individual athletes. So when we select the sports property, there are two criteria are very important. First one is a good fit with the brand's objective, right? So image-wise, it's a very good fit. Second thing you consider is about duration of sponsorships. How long are we going to have the chance to capitalize on the popularity of the events, right? The longer, the better, right? That would depend on your products, right? If this is a brand new products, you're planning to sell this product for 2 years, you possibly want to sign a slightly longer term sponsorship deal with this sports property. And then is partner relationships. What kind of partner the sports property might have, and how you be able to capitalize on these partner relationships. This is the first criteria. Second criteria related to the levels of involvements, right? So you have to think about, is a title sponsor, is a category sponsors, right? And also you also can look at the exposure time. Will this be live on radios, on televisions, or on the internet? So those are things you want to know before you make the final decision which sports property will be the best fit for you. Step 4 is we're going to develop a budget, right? Budget is about right fee, right? That represent the cost of the company pay either in cash or VIK, value in kind, to be recognized as an official sponsor of the sports properties, right? So what factor will impact the right fee, right? First of all, is prestige and status of the properties. Well-known events, obviously very expensive. We talk about if you want to sponsor Super Bowl, very expensive, right? Because these well-known events, MFL, well-known events with higher audiences, sponsorship fee is higher. NBA is global events, right? So sponsorship is higher, right? Geography slope is also, if you target bigger area, obviously sponsorship fee will be higher. Target smaller geography, the sponsor fee will be lower. And audience achieve, obviously, the most popular events, the cost will be higher. IOC, for instance, Olympic Games, because Olympic Games is being broadcast at more than 200 countries in the world, very broad audiences. So to become the Olympics international sponsors, and then you have to pay nearly $1 billion for 4 years. Then use that. Sponsorship levels, talk about, are we going to be the title sponsors or each of the category sponsors, or we just become like official suppliers, right? Time frame is how long. In a longer time, possibly the cost will be higher. That would depends. Sometimes shorter time, the cost will also be higher. It really depends. Duration is also the time as well, right? And that is the right fee. So we have to prepare a budget on 2 areas. Is how much money we have to pay for the sports sponsorship. The second thing is we have to consider about the activation costs. So in addition to just sponsor for this event, we also need to prepare the money that we can use to activate these sports sponsorships. For the sponsor, we have different types of categories. Using event example, we have a title sponsors. So basically, the event is named by these sponsors. There are a lot of examples. For instance, ESPN, it has they organize their own events, right? So every time when people are watching it, they name by ESPN. So we're using Western and Southern Tennis Open, for instance, right? There's kind of like a title sponsors. The title is sponsored by Western and Southern Bank, right? Second one is presenting sponsors, or say core sponsors. So a lot of time when we watch TV, they will say this event is presenting by Discover, right? That is a presenting sponsors. So unlike title sponsors, they don't incorporate the company's name in the title of the events, but they are also associated with the titles, right? Just a presenting sponsor. Obviously, the cost will be cheaper. Exclusive sponsor, that means only one company in that category is able to become the sponsors. They have the potential for recognition. They will also become a very good initial sponsorship involvement. And the last part categories of the sponsorships is called official supplier. So official supplier means we are able to collaborate with multiple business in these industries, and then you can become official supplier. For instance, food service, we can collaborate with a lot of 3 or 4 local restaurants. They're able to provide food to these events. They're able to sell for these events. So this official supplier. Another example is if you go and buy tickets, right? So you possibly be able to buy a ticket from a lot of different stores, right? So this official supply, they're all official supply, but they don't have exclusive right. And also merchandise product is the same, right? We have the event, we want to sell the merchandise product. You can buy it from an official store. You can also buy it from other store. Other store, those also are official supplies. Okay, so those are sponsorship category. And the next step is we have to go and develop activation plan. We talk about not just about having a sponsorships, it's also about activate the sponsorships, which means we try to market the relationship or the linkage between the sponsor and sponsee. A sponsorship deal normally give a corporate partner to assess a sports property asset, but whether the sponsorship will be effective, that would completely depends on how you will be able to leverage this asset to communicate with these associations, right? So the activation plan normally need to, first of all, meet the sponsorship's objective. So everything you developed around the sponsorships, make sure they're related to what you try to achieve, right? And also they will help you develop a realistic budgets that go beyond the requirements and offer the right fees. A lot of time people will say a very successful sponsorship is you pay half of the money for sponsorship and half the money for activation. So you can think the sponsorship is very expensive. It's not just about the money you pay for the sponsorship itself, but also the money you pay for the activation, activate these relationships. You want to maximize the values of this sponsorship, right? So a lot of time you have to pay more money to that. There are a lot of like activation strategy we could talk about, like advertising, marketing these activations. We have a PR activation. We organize some PR event, officially letting people to know that we become the official sponsor of the particular events or teams, right? We have retailer opportunities. We can give free giveaways. So during the events, when the team playing, for instance, if we are team sponsors, we can give away free stuff, right? Let people to know, okay, we get this free stuff from these games, right? So maybe they have something to do with these teams, right? So venue activation, that include we display the logo, we try to sell things inside the venues, organize different activity inside the venues, right? Digital activations, talking about online promotions, how we promote things online, right? Usability activations, talking about we are able to invite some of our client to go and enjoy the events in the teams, right? So there's some other activations. Let's give you an example activation. So Kia is the official sponsor of the NBA All-Star Games. So Kia Motor has been considered as a very great activators, because they're really using a lot of different strategy and try to catch people's attention and try to help people to build out a connection between the Kia models and the NBA itself. So for instance, during the NBA All-Star Games, so the one thing that is like I think 1 year the NBA All-Star Game that took place in Los Angeles. So what Kia did was like during the NBA All-Star Games, so they would put a car there, allow the people, the basketball player to dunk, cross the car. So really give people the impression about the Kia, right? We can build up the connections between Kia and the NBA. Really help with the brand recognition. And the next thing they do is they host something called Escape of the Room activation at the downtown Los Angeles when the NBA All-Star Game took place. So basically they have different types of Kia's models there, and they organize some activity, encourage people to participate in event, and then have the chance to win $1,000 NBAstore.com gift card. So people would like to go to try whether they're lucky enough to get $1,000 from participating in these events and activities. Right, so these are pretty also good idea how you connect with your audiences. That's a second thing. Third thing they did was they sponsor the NBA All-Star team's jersey sponsors, right? So they put their patch on the All-Star Games uniforms, let people can recognize them, right? And all these jerseys also been able to sell not just at the NBA All-Star Game, but also be able to sell at all the retailers in the United States. So they can help people recognize this brand again. So another thing they do is they have the logos when the TMT was live streaming the events, right? And they have the cars driving all around Los Angeles, helping people to get the recognitions, right? And also they sponsor the NBA All-Star MVP. So they're using a lot of different way. They try to make sure the money they pay for the sponsorship is worth it to maximize the values. So that's the activation plan. The last one is called measure effectiveness. So we spend a lot of money on sponsorship and activation. We want to know whether the money we spend on is worth it, right? There are multiple different ways. The measurements can look at the brand awareness. So whether people recognize our brand a little bit more than before. So we talk about Kia as example. So whether before Kia became the NBA official sponsors and after the investment, whether people's recognition is higher than others competitors. Brand record is like when we talk about when we ask people in the street, they say, hey, do you know who is the official automobile sponsor of the NBA? People can come out with the Kia's name. So this is the brand record, right? And thought of my brand awareness is like when you as a customer going to buy cars. So Kia was one of your options, right? So that's a brand awareness. Brand image is how people think about you, right? More positive than before, hopefully, right? Financial is about sales numbers, right? That's more straightforward. Okay, so those are the 6 different steps for us to manage it as sports sponsorship. A lot of time, sports sponsorship costs a lot of money, but not all the money are worth it. Right, so a lot of time a company decided to end the sponsorship. So one of the example is Hyundai. Hyundai is also another Korean car maker. Kia is also a Korean car maker, right? So Hyundai has been working with MFL for a very long period of time, but they decided to end that sponsorship deal in 2019. One of the reasons is they found out Hyundai spent a lot of money on the sponsorship, but haven't done much on these TV commercials and activations. So they made that sponsorship wasn't that effective from Hyundai's perspective. So that's why they decided not to sponsor the MFL again. Another example to remind me was last year, the McDonald's decided not to sponsor the Olympic Games. McDonald's Olympic Games, they developed partnership for 30-40 years, but last year, McDonald's possibly realized the Olympic sponsorship was not that effective, particularly for them. So they decided to end that sponsorship deal, right? So that's also one of the example. So in what situation a sponsorship would have to be end? When you don't have a very clear expectation, you find out the outcome you're not really satisfied, you try to increase sales number does not look good, you possibly want to end these sponsorships. When you don't have enough budget to activate sponsorship, that will be another thing that you have to consider, right? Without activation programs, the sponsorship effectiveness would not be able to show it at the end. So another reason is maybe you change your focus. In the past, you focus on one thing, you think sponsorship will help you, but now you started changing new products, maybe changing new image of the organization. So you think possibly this sponsorship will not help you. And maybe you change your management person. So the person who is in charge of the sponsorships, you got a new person who in charge of sponsorships. When you have this turnaround in personnel, they will also impact the sponsorships relationship between organization and the sports properties. So this is about sports sponsorships. Let's have a quick review about what we have learned today in this sports sponsorship lecture. First of all, we'll talk about exchanging theory. We'll talk about sports sponsorship is completely based on exchanging theory. What's exchanging theory is basically talking about sponsor and sponsee. Everything we exchange, we believe things we exchange are completely identical in terms of the values. Right? We also talk about the differences between advertising and sponsorship. So advertising, a lot of them advertising, they're standardized, heavily relying on the media. But you'll be able to measure the effectiveness. For the sponsorship, they should give you more opportunities. You'll be able to directly sell to the customers, give you some prestigious status to the events, help you to enhance your images among the customers. We also talk about some key sponsorship property in the sports industry. Talk about league, talk about team, talk about individual athletes. We also talk about event and venues. right? We talk about the process of sports sponsorships, including we have to identify the target audience first, look at the properties, establish a budget, having activation plan, and at the end is metric effectiveness. Right, so we also introduce some of the activation strategy that we can use to really maximize the values of your sponsorships. All right, that's it for today's lectures. If you have any other questions, please do not hesitate and send me an email, let me know. All right, we'll see you guys next time.